Olá pessoal, tudo bem com vocês? Eu sou Marcos Queiroz, para quem não me conhece. Sou arquiteto e trabalho já há algum tempo com Feng Shui, trabalho com radiestesia e também tenho pesquisado outras formas de harmonização de ambientes, atividades que possam ajudar o arquiteto a conseguir seus resultados melhores do ponto de vista da saúde, não só a saúde física, fisiológica, mental, mas também saúde energética, espiritual, uma saúde com algumas práticas integrativas que eu acredito e que eu acho que podem ajudar muito na ampliação desses entendimentos da arquitetura dentro de uma ótica mais ampliada. Isso desde a época que eu era estudante, que já tinha essa preocupação através de leituras que a gente tinha de trabalhos, né, de arquitetura biológica, arquitetura geobiologia, arquitetura biocósmica, que foi um assunto que eu estudei bastante ainda quanto estudante. Eu tenho um vídeo aqui mostrando sobre isso, eu posso até deixar linkado aqui para vocês terem acesso a esse vídeo e vocês podem ver, tem um pouco mais dessa história. Mas de uns tempos para cá eu tenho procurado material sobre uma área que também nos ajuda muito a essa questão da harmonização dos ambientes, que é dentro da filosofia indiana, né? Dos Vedas, que é o Vastu Shastra. Então eu procurei muito material até que eu encontrei alguns cursos, né, através da internet, e verifiquei que são cursos que não têm preocupação com direito autoral, alguns cursos que estavam assim simplesmente colocados, né, para divulgação. Verifiquei já isso, se tem essa vinculação de direitos autorais, não tem, e resolvi trazer aqui para a gente porque eles tinham alguns problemas. Os vídeos tinham, primeiro, estava em inglês, algumas pessoas não têm acesso ao inglês. Quando eu vi que esses assuntos estavam em inglês, eu resolvi fazer uma legenda em português, traduzindo, né, o conteúdo. Coloquei efeitos sonoros, música, etc. E trouxe um vídeo mais agradável para a gente entender. E está dividido em 4 vídeos, né? E por enquanto nós temos só a introdução. Deu muito trabalho para fazer isso, então acho que eu vou lançando aos poucos. Primeiro vou lançar esse que é a introdução e a origem do universo, para falar de Vastu Shastra. Encontrei também um material mais profundo, mais completo, mais técnico, que eu vou fazer com calma logo depois dessa sequência de 4 vídeos que a gente vai apresentar sobre o Vastu Shastra, uma introdução, é o Vastu Shastra. Então nós vamos fazer essas apresentações aí de traduções e de adições que a gente está fazendo para esses vídeos, e depois nós vamos estudar esse outro material e trazer para vocês com mais detalhe, um mais avançado, que inclusive fala diretamente para arquitetos, informações importantes para utilizar na arquitetura. Primeiramente, a importância é dizer a vocês o que é que a gente tem de material de Vastu Shastra. Por enquanto, em livro mesmo, em português, temos esse aqui, Vastu, né, que é de Marcos Chimieck. Justamente a ideia dele foi lançar esse livro para poder suprir a carência de livros em português sobre o assunto, né? Ele fala aqui mesmo claramente que não é muito fácil encontrar, encontra mais em inglês mesmo. E tem esse aqui, que é da editora Manoli, que é Vastu Vidya, a arte indiana da organização dos ambientes, de Juliette Pegrum. Para que vocês entendam por que um tem escrito só Vastu e o outro escrito Vastu Vidya, primeiro, o que significa vasto? Vasto pode ser interpretado de uma maneira ocidental como arquitetura, ou como ambiente, ou como moradia, né? E Shastra poderia ser entendido como conhecimento, como entendimento, como ciência. Então, a rigor, numa linguagem nossa, próxima, poderíamos chamar Vastu Shastra de a ciência da arquitetura, ou a ciência do ambiente, a ciência da moradia. Mas muitos chamam até de yoga da moradia, outros chamam de a ciência, a arquitetura dos Vedas. Tem muitas outras formas de abordar, mas no fundo o significado é esse. É a busca de encontrar caminhos para criar, para produzir, para projetar ambientes, locais, objetos, coisas em si, tudo no universo, né? Que seja dentro das leis da harmonia da natureza, né? Dentro de uma harmonia com a natureza. Muita gente pode pensar assim, mas e o Feng Shui? O Feng Shui já é de origem chinesa, tem o mesmo objetivo, só que tem algumas diferenças. Poderíamos dizer, segundo alguns autores, que o Feng Shui e o Vastu Shastra são complementares, não são contraditórios. Só que no caso do Feng Shui, você, quando não consegue realizar uma casa, um projeto satisfatório, perfeito, o Feng Shui ainda tem um pouco mais de flexibilidade em relação a curas que podem ser feitas. No Vastu Shastra tem orientações bem específicas de projeto e orientações muito assim importantes de serem analisadas no ato de projetar, mais do que na parte de arquitetura de interiores. Mas, de um modo geral, os dois se complementam e os dois têm recomendações importantíssimas e que podem ser seguidos em paralelo, em concomitância ou um junto com o outro, trazendo cada vez mais resultados interessantes. E é isso que nós vamos trazer aqui para vocês neste primeiro vídeo. Tem uma introdução falando da parte filosófica dos Vedas, resumidamente mostrando a interferência dos deuses, né, nesse processo todo, na criação do universo, na origem do universo, e em seguida nós vamos ter os outros vídeos que já atuam mais diretamente na prática do Vastu Shastra, certo? Espero que vocês gostem e logo depois da vinheta vocês vão ver este vídeo, a parte de introdução, e se inscrevam no canal, né? Apertem o sininho para obterem notificações e toda vez que a gente colocar um vídeo novo aqui, especialmente agora esse, né, do curso que vai estar sendo colocado, introdutório, e também comentem alguma coisa e deem um like aí também para a gente, tá certo? Então vamos ao vídeo logo depois da vinheta.
Imagine you had the opportunity to build a house in absolute harmony with the laws of the universe, blessed by the Creator, and simply living in such dwelling would grant you boundless health, happiness, and prosperity. Well, such knowledge is included in the ancient scripts called Vedas. We could translate the Vedas as knowledge leading to the God. This knowledge is not created by man, not altered or deformed by man. It is a flawless, authorized manual for life directly from the God, and it includes Vastu Shastra, the topic of this class. Vastu Shastra is all about taking an object and build it or design it in harmony with the laws of the whole, so that the whole can accept it. It doesn't matter if you're creating a big thing, a small one, a detail, or at the landscape level. Vastu simply creates harmony of space. By the word space, we mean the 5 elements: ether, air, fire, water, and earth, as well as more subtle energies flowing in and out. As soon as we build something randomly, sooner or later, the forces of nature will come and bring everything in order, even destroy if necessary. It is the same like with a river stream flowing in this direction and a pebble stone facing the current. The only way the pebble can withstand the stream forces is like this. The river, in our analogy, represents the universe, the pebble is any human construction, and Vastu Shastra is the conscious arrangement of the stone in the best way possible. There are 2 types of instructions you will find in the Vedas. Material instructions contain all activities that you can or cannot imagine doing with your physical body and mind. They cover various fields from mathematics, astrology, physics, martial arts, administration, economics, architecture, healing, and Vastu Shastra is a part of it too. The spiritual instructions deal with who we are, that we are souls, a living energy that has the original home in the spiritual realms and are only temporarily connected to this material world for a specific purpose or to fulfill the specific desires we had chosen before we descended here. The urge for souls to descend into the material worlds always arises from desires or temptations to do something which is not possible in their spiritual home. If a soul wants to remain in the material world, it can use the instructions from the material part of the Vedas, which reveals how to endure the living as effectively as possible and to reduce suffering on earth to its minimum. Once a living entity desires to return to its original home in the spiritual realms, it can use the spiritual part of the Vedas, where there are direct instructions on how to get rid of the physical body, so that the Mother Nature can release us and we do not have to be born again. Indian mythology describes creation of the universe as well as the descending of souls into the material world in the utmost detail. This topic would be worth many independent classes, but please allow me a very brief summary. This is a half of the spiritual universe. Actually, it's only a section because it has no boundaries. It expands to infinity. And this half is occupied by the planet Goloka, where Lord Krishna himself resides, together with Radharani, his female expansion. Here below, we have the area of the Vaikuntha planets, where Mahavishnu and Lakshmi reside. They are both another expansion of Lord Krishna. The Vaikuntha planets are inhabited by eternally liberated souls who no longer enter material worlds and do not participate in material pastimes. Here we have the borderline between the spiritual and material worlds called the Sadashiva Loka, and here is the gate through which souls descend into the material worlds. Lord Shiva also lives here. At this point, souls are still fully aware of their true nature, but as they descend below, a cloud called Mahatattva appears, overshadowing their full consciousness, inducing a state of illusion. Were it not for this shadow, it would be like playing blindman buff when no one is blindfolded, or playing chess knowing all the moves of your opponent in advance. And that's not fun. But now, under the shadow of Mahatattva, a soul has forgotten who she really is, has lost the pure consciousness. At this place, I believe it's very important to clarify the essence of a soul in general. First of all, a soul is not born and doesn't die. It is the eternal part of the God, and just like the God, consists of three qualities: love, goodness, and happiness, which together create eternal bliss. For the purpose of this video, we could draw a soul as a braid of these three qualities. I address the soul as she, since in the whole creation, or Prakriti, only female aspect is manifested, and souls are part of it. The only male entity in the whole universe is the God himself. Here you can see the ocean of course, on which lies Mahavishnu, and as he sleeps, he dreams about the material world, and in his dream he expels billions of them with each of his breath. Every 13 seconds he inhales and exhales for another 13 seconds. Inside each bubble, half filled with the ocean, another expansion of Lord Vishnu is created, lying on the surface. From his navel, out of pure pranic energy, grows a lotus flower on which Lord Brahma is born, blessed with the knowledge of Vedas received from Vishnu. He is the chief designer of our universe and billions of others. Within our universe, 14 planetary systems are then created, the higher, lower and middle planets, where our galaxy and our Earth is right here, on the 7th level, called Burloka. We are the first planetary system which is allowed to see clear sky above. Lord Brahma is dwelling on the topmost level called Satyaloka. There are countless details and circumstances happening in these 13 seconds, and then, all of a sudden, the trillions of universes are inhaled back and destroyed by Lord Vishnu. By the way, these 13 seconds of Vishnu's breath, this cycle of creation and destruction, takes precisely 311.04 trillion years. And if you're asking where are we on the timeline now, well, in the second half. Let me explain. Lord Brahma is born with an exhale and dies with an inhale of Mahavishnu and lives 33,000 days, and one day of Lord Brahma is called Kalpa, lasting 4.32 billion years. When Brahma awakens, the universe is created from his consciousness, but when he goes to sleep at night, there is a partial destruction of the material world. This period between the day and night of Lord Brahma is called Sandhya, and it lasts 1.728 million years. During this time, the material world is not manifested. It's a reset period when everything is partially destroyed and a new creation, a new age is getting ready. Now, what do our scientists say about the Big Bang? 5 billion years ago? Well, that's just another beginning of the day of Lord Brahma, and this happens 36,000 times during the existence of the material world. One kalpa is divided into 14 manvantaras, each lasting 306.72 million years. One manvantara consists of 71 Divya Yugas, each subdivided into 4 ages: Satya, Treta, Dvapara and Kali Yuga. We are right here in Kali Yuga, which lasts 433,000 years and started 8,000 years ago. And when this age ends, another Satya Yuga will start and the cycle will go on. You can look at it as days, hours, minutes and seconds of Lord Brahma's life. People in the age of Kali Yuga are not very intelligent, quickly forget things, have learning problems, make a lot of mistakes. Our civilization develops a lot of false directions that confuse us, and that is why there is a high degree of suffering. The Vedas must have been written specifically for this age so that we do not forget it. What is interesting about the current Kali Yuga are 10,000 enlightened years that have begun in 2012. 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna visited our planet and gave all those who follow him a chance to liberate themselves, but those who fail to do so and waste this enlightened period will have to wait another 432,000 years for the beginning of another Satya Yuga, because Kali Yuga is a dark age of destruction where liberation is not possible. So be careful. You have a human body, a machine that can transport the soul home, and time is running out. But now, let's go back to the topic. Every soul, when descending to one of many material worlds, goes through and covers herself with 8 layers that prevent spiritual enlightenment from entering. First 3 outer layers are false ego, intelligence, and mind. These 3 create fake consciousness, or the software of every living being. Mind is something like a database of perceptions, a storehouse. What happens with the database, whether I use it right or abuse it, is ruled by intelligence. Bad news is that intelligence works for false ego to make it happy. The mission of false ego is to detach you from your real self. We must not know who we are, otherwise we wouldn't want to play this game. As the soul descends further, she covers in the 5 additional layers: ether, air, fire, water and earth, developing a specific sense at each level. At the ether level comes the sense of hearing, then touch, sight, smell and taste. Now we have the hardware or physical body. In order to play the game, the soul must wear this 8-layered spacesuit. The trick is that in this thick suit, the soul is disconnected from the pure light of consciousness she once had in the spiritual world. So, all the elements are there, but everything is inert, passive. The elements have no driving force, no consciousness. They cannot establish relationships, nothing. In order for them to get into relationships and create structures, the vital spiritual energy is necessary, and the driving force here are the desires of the soul wearing the spacesuit or the physical body and her subsequent actions, which are mostly egocentric. A quick question. What causes movement in the spiritual universe where there is no ego, where your knowledge is absolute, where everything is perfect? What compels the God and souls to do anything at all? Selfless love towards another being. In the spiritual world, all divine activities are controlled by the pure energy of love. It's a self-regulating principle. Where there is love, you don't need lawyers, police, laws. You do everything voluntarily and as best as you can, so you don't even need quality control. But when you put love away, you need all these things. Loving energy is replaced by karmic energy, the single and only regulatory principle on the earth, the protective mechanism of material nature. An advice. The defense against bad karma is not to create delusive attachment to anything and anyone. Good thing about all this is that even in the material game, you can decide whether to act with or without love. However, a soul can only bear the karmic reaction for her actions in the physical body. Karma pushes us to be born, to accept another bodies again and again. The difference between a human and animal body is that only in the human body a soul can decide whether she wants to continue playing this game in the material world or to break the samsara circle. Eventually, after billions of years and millions of reborns, the soul realizes that playing for God is absolutely unnatural. You can be a pharaoh, a king, a beggar, even Lord Brahma himself, and yet something is still missing. So it happens that the soul comes to know that she no longer wants to worry, wants to be carefree, the only natural position for her. That brings me to a conclusion that the material game is designed in such a way that we do not stuck in it. Discomfort and suffering are systemic anomalies or clues for us to realize the truth. And it is the suffering through which we increase our knowledge. This illusion would not make any sense if we were only lying on the beach and everything would just fall into our lap. Suffering and pain in the material world is inevitable, and the ancient Vedas are the divine manual how to alleviate the pain. Whichever part of the Vedas you start with, whether it's yoga, Ayurveda, Vastu, astrology, it will always lead you to the knowledge of the whole.